Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. I'll begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. The members of the panel today are, to my far left, Laurie Davidson. My immediate left is Gisela Rempel. I'm Robert Buss. Our assessor today is Amanda Evans. And the administrative secretary this morning is Cara Balshaw. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit the discussion to those matters. The statements that applicants or the assessor make at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by this board. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the other applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they so wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be a part of the public record.
Will you swear in or affirm? Okay. Please state your name. Do you swear the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you.
Can you please stand? Will you swear on the Bible or affirm without?
It doesn't matter. Fine, fine.
Please state your name.
Edward Kilker.
Do you swear the evidence?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Do you swear the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. And you have some evidence to distribute to the panel today?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will begin this morning with 67 Martel Crescent. We will begin with the assessor's evidence. The floor is yours.
Okay, so the property is 67 Martel Crescent. It's located in the Maples neighborhood. It's a bi-level single-family dwelling built in 1973. It's 829 square feet with a finished basement. It has 2 bathrooms, air conditioning, and a detached garage. The lot size is 5,147 square feet. The comparable properties are 110 Madeira Crescent, 188 Margate Road, 91 Fletchner Drive, and 54 Mandarin Crescent. They're all located in the same neighborhood as the subject property. They're all bi-level single-family dwellings, and they're all built between 1971 and 1976. The square footages range from 824 to 1,001 square feet. The comparables all have finished basements, and they all have 2 bathrooms and air conditioning. There's a wood fireplace at 188 Margate Road, and 110 Madeira Crescent and 91 Fletchner Drive have detached garages. 54 Mandarin has an attached garage, and 188 Margate Road has no garage. The lot sizes range from 4,199 square feet to 7,286 square feet. There's a bus stop, corner, and traffic influence for 110 Madeira Crescent, and there's a traffic influence for 188 Margate Road, and there's a park influence for 91 Fletchner Drive. The time adjusted price per square foot of the comparables is $260.65 to $326.54. And the subject property is at $253.32, which is significantly lower than the comparables. We did an office review, and we lowered the value to $210. So that, based on that review, we took into consideration concerns with the property, and I believe that the value should be maintained at $210.
Thank you. Mr. Toker, do you have any questions on the evidence that she has presented?
I have just one question I'd like to pose to the witness.
Go ahead.
Do you know, it's sort of not the evidence that she gave, but I just, there's a member of the assessment department that I had an arrangement with, and I wonder if she knows.
Go ahead.
Duchin?
Yes.
Right? He's got so many initials, there's not enough room on one page, so I imagine he's a very educated in the assessment division. That's the only question I have.
Okay. Then we'll entertain questions from the panel. Lori? Laura?
Yes, I have a
Lori,
question.
sorry.
I like Laura. It's great.
Lori.
I have a question. You indicated that in your office review,
Yes.
you'd reduce the assessment based on issues with the property.
Yes.
What were the issues?
So, who you mentioned, Dutchin was the one that looked at the property. I mean, I'm sure the homeowner will get it more into it, but yeah, the house is dated. There's issues with the flooring and countertops and kitchen is dated, cracking in the ceiling, stuff like that. Based on that, and also based on comparables, I used dated comparables to compare his property with. I didn't look at houses that were updated or anything like that. So those are the issues with the house, dated and needs updating to it. So it was brought down to 210 to take into consideration all of his concerns with the home.
But there weren't structural issues.
It doesn't say anything in here. It just says old windows, doors, dated. Things need to be replaced, but no, I don't have anything to do with structural issues, no.
Okay, thank you very much.
Gisella, questions?
Yes, I do have one. You say it was brought down to 210.
Yes.
Can you tell me where it started?
I possibly have that. I might not have that information. No, I unfortunately don't know what it was at before 210, sorry.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions, thank you.
I don't have any questions. So Mr. Tokar, if you would take us through your information.
Okay, well,
Thanks.
I'm not going to burden you with all the information that's here because unfortunately I don't feel very well this morning. So I'm not going to burden you. I would just maybe ask you to look at pages 1 and 2. One, just a summary that says that the law is clear on what the assessment department must consider. And it's just very short. And I find in the past, and in this case, that for some reason or other, they just seem to use similar properties, not necessarily even in the neighborhood. And I counter that with the law, but I'm not going to go into that. One of my chief concerns was I had an arrangement with, I'll call him Duchin.
Mr.
Ramsawak?
Yes.
Yes.
Dutchin Ramsawak.
On October 12th, 2018, and it was reduced to 2002.
Okay.
And my understanding was that if there were improvements, and there have been, I may as well say there's been no improvements. The property has been just the way it is. I can't afford the improvements, like $15,000 for a driveway, like $15,000 for underpinning. It's just right out of my budget. I'm 85 years old, I can't afford it, and it doesn't make any sense either, you know.
Okay.
But we had a deal. October 12th, we had a deal. Then the second page that I'd refer you to, please, is the commentary on October 11th, 2018 by the Assessment and Taxation Division. And it deals with some interesting comments. But the last part, the second last paragraph, all 4 companies are bi-level houses located, blah, blah, blah. Each comparable has 829 square feet, which is the same as the subject, but are vastly superior in condition. And that's really the what I'm hinging my argument without going through all this. All the pictorials and that is simply supporting, corroborating what I'm saying. That in fact it's true. I'm not making up stories. So I'm saying to the board, Mr. Chairman, is I agreed, and there's further down in the material, I agreed with Duchin. Everybody signed off on 2002. Then in June, I get another. Are they targeting me? Are they bullying me? I don't know. But I feel that I'm being targeted, I'm being bullied. I've been before the Board of Revision and the Municipal Board since 2009. And in every particular case, the board, whether it was the Municipal Board or the Board of Revision, reduced what the assessment. And it's a scary thing to think that they're just using a computer, appraising properties, nilly-willy, and it's a windfall for the city of Winnipeg. Yay!
Well, Mr. Chipper, I will tell you that the provincial legislation mandates that the city revalue the properties every 2 years. That's why.
Well,
Don't feel that
I
they're
realize
giving you-
that's
So they have to do
municipal-
that. By
Yes.
law, they have to do that.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I realize
Okay.
that. But I'm just saying that I
Yeah.
feel like I'm being bullied every 2 years on this thing. And especially when Mr. Duchin, and nobody, by the way, nobody came to my property to inspect it at all. And I do have estimates, when I said 15,000 for a new driveway, and when I say underpinning, there is estimates in
Where are
there.
those estimates?
They're right next to the law, which is the last paragraph. Excuse me. I have estimates for windows. At one time I did double B paving and it was a mistake because we asphalt over the driveway. It's a 100-foot driveway, didn't work. So there's pictures of that in the pictorial. And then I have, well, I did replace a garage door, that's one. But then it goes on, the big item is the underpinning. Are you with me or did I lose you?
I'm with you. What page is the estimate for the underpinning?
Well, it says here, page
$27,000?
3. Yes, 10,920.
Okay, I got it. I'm with you. 10,920,
Mhm.
okay.
And then it goes on page 2, labor, material, 15,600, total 16,380.
Okay.
So that's really the big item. And further down is sort of inventory of all the things that have to be done.
Okay.
So, like I say, we had an agreement, and 6 months later, they sent me a new assessment back to 210. And this thing's been bouncing around. I think one of the chair people mentioned what was the high assessment. The high assessment at one time is 221. So they just keep going up and down. Well, no, they go up, and the board puts them back down.
What do you think it should be? 202? Is that what you're
Well, yeah.
asking this board
Ye-
to lower
Yes,
to?
yes,
203?
back to 202, but I'm a little bit angry, and I was going to say, you know what, Mr. Chairman, maybe it should be 201. to punish the city for bringing me down.
We don't work on that
I
type
know
of
you
attitude.
don't, but I couldn't resist that.
Okay.
Okay. Gratuitous comment. So I think I'll leave it at that. I think it should go back to 202. There's been no change. I swore the Bible, there's been no change. As a matter of fact, the slider in the back just cracked. And that's a $4,000 thing. And as I say, I'm 85 years old. I won't go into my health, my wife's health. I'm not here for that purpose, and you don't need to hear it. But we have other pressing things that have to be done in our lifetime.
Okay, leave it. We'll see if we have any questions from the assessor.
I don't have any questions.
No questions? Any questions from the panel members?
I have a question
Sure.
that is sort of for the assessor unless you have the answer. So for 2014, you indicated that 202,000 was the market value in your agreement with Mr. Dutchin. And then 2020, your market value assessment is at 210, which is 8,000 or 4% above 2014. So in 6 years, or I meant 4 years, it's gone up by 4%. So do either of you know what the increase in the market value in this particular neighborhood was between those reassessment years?
Well, for between 2018 and 2020, so
Okay.
last reassessment and this one, it went up about 3%. Just one second, I have it written down here. No, 2%. 2% from 18 to 20.
Okay, so that would be 2016 market value, right?
2018. Oh yeah, 2016 market value for 2018 assessment. Yes.
Okay, so that was 2% over just a 2-year
2-year period. Yes.
And it's 4% over
4 years.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ellen?
I have no questions, thank you.
I don't have any questions either. You've left us good information, Mr. Totar. Thank
I'm
you.
sorry to do it this way.
No,
I
no,
should have
no.
been here, you know, to answer questions, but
No,
my age, things happen.
You've given us lots of good information here. We'll have a look at it and
And I didn't want to burden you, and but anyways, I thank you for for listening to me, and I thank you. And as I say, we had a deal. A deal is a deal. Let's give me a break.
thank you for coming, and you will hear you'll get a letter from the secretary with our decision within 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Buck.
Thank you.
And I thank you for letting me go first. I appreciate it. I shouldn't have done this.
No,
But I've been at this hearings when I was here at 1 o'clock, so I know what it's like. And thank you for your patience, folks. I pain in the butt sometimes. It's what my wife tells me. Good morning to you all.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you.
We will go to 109 Jefferson Avenue. Amanda Davis.
Yes, we got it.
Okay. Amanda, will you swear in on the Bible or affirm without?
With the Bible, I'm just visually impaired so that everybody knows I have about 1% of my vision. I will not be looking at anybody. I don't know where anyone
Okay,
is.
I'm right in front of you, and I'll
Thank
put you
you.
on the Bible. Please state your name.
Amanda Davis.
Do you swear the evidence you present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. And will you be speaking as well?
Yes, bro.
Okay. And you'll swear on the Bible or affirm without?
Sure.
Please state your name.
Bradley.
Do you swear the evidence you present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Do you have anything to distribute to the panel this morning?
Well, Mr. Bucks had said that we're not allowed to present the evidence that is comparable properties. So that's what we were given, that's what we were told to do, and so now I don't know what to do.
Okay, so I don't see any packages to distribute. You can do a verbal
Right.
presentation, that's
Yes.
fine.
Okay.
Okay. And if something comes up as we go along, we can certainly distribute.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have 2 years,
Yes.
2 years under appeal.
Should I just read both of them and then we discuss,
Well,
or would you
they're-
like to do one year at a time?
Yeah, they're different
Yeah, there's different comparables and different,
valuations.
yes, different ones.
So we'll go through one. The second
Sure.
one will be, I mean, the physical aspects won't change, but we'll go through the
2019 first?
2019 first.
Sure, okay. Okay, so this is for 2019 for 109 Jefferson Avenue. It's located in the Seven Oaks neighborhood. It's a two-story single-family dwelling built in 2018. It's 1,520 square feet. It has 3 bathrooms and a detached garage. The lot size is 2,747 square feet. The comparable properties are 324 Jefferson Avenue, 18A Lansdowne Avenue, 107 Lexington Avenue, and 51 Danford Drive. This comparables are located in the Jefferson, Lexington, and Riverbend neighborhood. The Jefferson neighborhood is on the other side of Maine from the subject. Lexington is just south, down on the same side of Maine as the subject, and Riverbend is north of the subject property past the Chief Pegasus Trail. They're all two-story single-family dwellings built between 2005 and 2015. The square footages range between 1,311 and 1,612 square feet. The comparables all have unfinished basements with the exception of 324 Jefferson Avenue. 324 Jefferson and 51 Danford have 3 bathrooms, and 18A Lansdowne and 107 Lexington have 2 bathrooms. They all have air conditioning with the exception of 107 Lexington Avenue. 18A Lansdowne has a detached garage, and 51 Danford has an attached garage, and the other comparables do not have garages. Their lot sizes range from 2,499 square feet to 4,576 square feet. There is a bus and traffic influence for 324 Jefferson Avenue, and there's a school influence for 107 Lexington Avenue. The time adjusted price per square foot of the comparables is $195.67 to $226.05, and the subject property is at $211.18. Based on these comparables, I feel the value should be retained.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any questions of the assessor on the information that she has presented?
I didn't hear the very last sentence she said, that she believes what?
Oh, that the value should be maintained based on the comparables.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that's it for me so far.
Okay, no questions?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Panel members, Laura?
I have a quick question. I'm looking at your comparables. I note that comp 2 and comp 3 are on the east side of Main Street, and the other 2 comps are on the west. And I noticed that the ones on the east side of Main Street are a lower time-adjusted sale price per square foot. Is there a difference in the neighborhood of east of Maine versus west of Maine?
Okay, so sorry, so comparables 2 and 3 are lower than comparable 2, you're saying?
No, 2 and 3, the price per square foot is lower
Oh,
than
then the price per square foot.
of the other 2, and I note that the 2 that are lower are east of Main Street and the others are west. Like, is there a
No, I
difference in
don't,
the neighborhoods?
for those 2 neighborhoods, the Jefferson and the Lexington neighborhood, I don't think there's too much of a difference. They're relatively similar in age. I think it's just like there's ones
So when
that
you cross-
don't have basement. No, I wouldn't say there's a huge difference.
Okay,
no.
sorry to interrupt you,
No.
so there's no real difference between east or west of Maine in this area?
I would say not significant. I mean, like the closer to the river would be probably, depending how close you are, I guess, would be better. I
Okay.
mean, but these houses are all close in age, and I wouldn't say there's a huge difference. Mostly just that, say, some of them have finished base, or one of them has a finished basement, the other 2 don't, whether they have a garage or not. Like those types of things would make the difference in the value more than, but closer to the river would possibly be a little bit higher.
Okay,
Which is
thank-
what the subject property is on.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Giselle?
Yes, I'm wondering if you think one of these comparables is most similar to the subject property?
Yes, so 51 Danford is my least comparable because it's the furthest away and it's in a newer area. I feel that the subject property is close to, actually all the other 3, 324 Jefferson, 18A Lansdowne, and Lexington. The only difference being that one of them has a finished basement, but then they also don't have a garage. So there's differences like that, and then the other one, like 107 Lexington doesn't have a finished basement or a garage. So that one is a little bit lower because they do have a garage. So I guess maybe 18A Lansdowne would be, because it doesn't have a basement finish and it does also have a garage, which is what the subject property has.
Thank
So
you.
those three, but yeah, 18E Lansdowne would be the most weight on, yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
Thanks. So the subject property is in an older neighborhood.
Yes.
So infill, we would call this
Yes.
infill housing?
Yeah.
And are the four comparables similar? There are newer houses in older areas?
Yes, the first three, yes. The
Yeah.
last one on Danford is in a newer area, an older, like, in a newer area, older than the subject property, but in a newer area than the subject property.
Mhm.
So I put the least amount of weight on that one because it, is in a newer neighborhood, but the home is older than the subject. So the other three are, yes, infill houses in an old neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have any information you'd like to give us, or evidence you'd like to present?
Yeah, I got a few things to say. Our garage isn't finished, it doesn't have any stucco on it yet. The basement isn't finished, we still have open permits on both those things. This house at 324 Jefferson, assessed at 286.4, is that what it is? Is comparable to our house, yeah, it doesn't have a garage.
That's the sale price, a
Right.
time-adjusted sale price.
Right. So, our house is assessed at well over 300,000, and we just think that's too high.
Could I speak now?
Yep.
Okay. It's very difficult for me, and I will cry, just ignore that. This all started because arsonists burnt our house down. There's a newly, and I'm sorry if I'm wasting your time and I shouldn't be saying any of this, but I need to get my stuff out in case it does matter. There's a newly home being built at 107 Jefferson Avenue. Children went in there, threw gasoline everywhere. And they threw fireworks. And they lit it on fire, and then it destroyed our home. We lived in a 630 square foot home because we are poor. We have no money. My husband is the one who works. Blind, I'm sure I can do something, but I haven't found anything that I can do to bring money in. Trying, but anyway. The home that we lived in was 630 square feet because that's what we could afford. It was 106 years old. Our taxes were $600 or so a year. We could barely afford that. There's a lot of things that happened at that point in time. We had just had twins, and we had to pay for that. Financially, it's very hard. And long story cut short, we finally got back up on our feet, literally, on May 16th. And then the fire happened May 19th. We did not buy this house. We rebuilt this house. To rebuild a 630 square foot house, the quote was $220,000. 630 square feet, $220,000. We got the quote from our builder to build basically the size of our home, and it would be $249,000 to rebuild that home. The build went horribly wrong. It couldn't have been worse. The contract said that the home would be finished December 2016, and it was, my husband pushed our way in for May 1st, 2018. In the meantime, we were completely destroyed as a family, and financially, it's okay. I have things in place to keep myself going. But as it stands, to be requesting from us basically $4,000-something a year for taxes. I know the city has to make their money. I do not work for the city, I never will. It costs a lot of money, I'm sure, to run it, but to take $400 a month basically from our life, we can't do it barely. We're doing okay, as it is right now. I don't know where, because Mr. Buss said that we're not allowed to provide our own comparables. That's kind of part of the evidence that we have. In order to have just sold the property after the fire, we would have only gotten, I think, 75% from the insurance company. That's how that works. Plus, I like the neighborhood because of my vision. I was kind of raised mostly in that neighborhood. I can make it to the bus stop if I had to. I can make it to IGA to get some groceries if I had to. And if anybody would have told us, Amanda, your taxes are going to be $4,000, I would not have made the house that size. I think I'll be done for now. Do you have anything? I don't, go ahead.
After the house fire, we were just thrown into a whirlwind of insurance and dealing with builders and stuff like that. And people plan houses, they plan to build houses for years sometimes, and we were just thrown into it. So we just did the best we could. We were raising a family of 4. We had 2 young infants, and we didn't know that $5,000 a year in taxes was coming at the end of this. Well,
There's-
4,000.
Also, insurance did not pay for most of this house because my builder took so long. The insurance money ran out to pay towards rent. We had to pay $1,400 a month rent. Didn't have to, we could have moved to a 1-bedroom apartment. I don't want to be a sob story about that, but the point is, all of our money got flushed down the toilet to the mortgage for a home we didn't live in. And we could not go to you guys, to the Board of Revision before, because when that happened, especially being blind and my husband working shift work and all the other sob story, it's very difficult to get on top of things. So when the tax bills came in, because we didn't live in the property, it was drastically higher. We couldn't fight it. There is no brain power there. And I'm not all that smart to begin with at times for certain things. And I feel like you guys have a lot of information behind you, and you guys know a lot, and we know like a couple papers, so.
Well, we're trying to find the market value of the house. The taxes, we can't do anything about the taxes. We're trying to find the fair value of the property. That's what we're going to concern ourselves with here today.
Am I allowed to give you guys addresses of 3 houses or no?
You can give them to us, yes.
Okay.
The reason that we don't want to compare assessments is because we're looking for market value of the house. That's what the Act says. If the assessor came in and just said, your house is assessed fairly because it's assessed the same as a house down the street, that wouldn't be good enough for us either, because it doesn't prove anything. It just proves it's assessed the same as another house, right? What we want to know is, how does it compare to properties that have sold in the area? That's the best information for us. That's why we say that we really don't compare assessments.
Okay, and unfortunately, it's kind of difficult for me to get that proper information for you guys, so I just know that it was house number 90 and also house number 94 on Rupert's Land, and then also 135 Smithfield was the comparable addresses that I was understanding.
Are these infill houses like yours?
I don't know.
Okay. We will have questions then, of this assessor. Do you have any questions? Lori, do you have questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Gisela?
I just want to say, I'm glad that you and your family are all right. That must have been a very traumatic experience for you, for sure. And I thank you very much for your presentation today.
Thank you. So the house itself is finished. You said that the basement was unfinished and the garage was unfinished. So does the assessment department have, they don't have any finished
We don't
basement
have a
area?
finished basement. The garage doesn't have stucco on it, but it can still be used, so we put the garage on it. And stucco could not be on it for the rest of the time it's up, but if it's being used, then we add it onto our record.
Okay. Is the rest of the house finished? The bathrooms, the kitchen, everything like that
For
is
the most part.
finished? The flooring and
There's
things
just
like
some
that?
paint in one bathroom that needs to be done, and a little bit of finishing on, there's still some bare drywall on the stairs, very small amount.
Okay, we'll leave that one and we'll move on to the 2020 supplementary assessment. The assessor will.
Okay, so this is for 2020, so again, it's for 109 Jefferson, located in Seven Oaks neighborhood. The comparable properties for 2020 are 141 A Wheeler Avenue, 112 Perth Avenue, 273 Royal Avenue, and 458 Matheson Avenue. They are located in the Seven Oaks and the Jefferson neighborhood. They're all two-story single-family dwellings built between 2011 and 2017. The square footages range from 1,201 to 1,373 square feet. The comparables all have unfinished basements, and they all have 3 bathrooms, with the exception of 112 Perth that has 2 bathrooms. They all have air conditioning, and none of the comparables have garages. And the lot sizes range from 2,377 square feet to 3,475 square feet. And there's a school influence for 273 Royal Avenue. And the time adjusted price for these comparables is range from $220.61 to $241.32, and the subject property is at $220.39. So I believe that value should be maintained for 2020.
Thank you. And we'll do the same if you have any questions of the information that the assessor has presented here. You're welcome to ask questions.
Why is it different houses that they use?
It's a new assessment year, so we had to look at new sales. 2020 is a new assessment, a reassessment in 2019. We could do a reassessment every 2 years, so 2018, 2019, or the same year, or the same value, and then 2020, 2021. We'd have to look at new sales.
Okay, so that's sales for that year, and this is sales for
Yes.
this year. Okay.
Okay. Lori, any questions?
Yes, I have a question. So looking at the 2019 assessment market value and looking at the 2020, it's been a 14,000 or 4% increase, and the neighborhood was at 2, so the additional 2% you're attributing
We
to.
did add, there was, air conditioning wasn't on for 2019, we did add that, so that,
Okay.
oh, sorry, I have air conditioning in the, oh no, this is 2020. 2019. Yeah, we added air conditioning, so that makes a slight difference between values also.
How much is air conditioning?
I don't have an exact value, it could be $5,000 to $10,000, what I'll say. I can't say for sure, let's say 5,000 will go on the low end. So yeah, there was that difference for between the 2 years. Oh, sorry.
Oh, just if there's anything else
Oh,
that
nothing else
contributes
is
to the
different.
above
No,
average
nothing else has
increase.
changed from
in the,
their
neighborhood.
attributes or anything like that, just that we added air conditioning and that, the sales show that houses of similar age, size, there 2 of them are even in the subject neighborhood, which I could find, and then 2 are just like in the same, I think that one's the same side of, oh no, that's the other side of Maine. The other 2 are, and they all have unfinished basements, and they actually all have no garages, which is, and they're selling, or their price per square foot is higher, so I just looked at that and that was the value that
Okay.
seems reasonable because it's lower than the comparables.
And just a very quick question, why use different comps than were used for 2019?
Because they're in different reference years, like the sales,
Yes.
so I can't look at, the sales for 2020, we looked at between April of
Oh, you had no
2016 and April of
sales.
2016 to 2018, and then for 2019, we're looking at sales from
Right, this is,
14 to 16, yeah, so I can't use the same sales.
okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Gisela?
I have no questions, thank you.
I have no questions either.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
The house right next door to us was sold for $254,000. It's a split level. It was built a year before.
2016 or 2015 or so.
Right.
When did it sell?
2015 or 2016. Probably 2016. It is different by being a bi-level. I believe it's 900 something square feet.
I wouldn't have been able to look at that. I can't compare by-levels to two stories.
Okay. familiar with the house on Perth. The assessor is saying that 112 Perth is a two-story house, newer for that neighborhood. You familiar with that one at all? No.
It's right by Governor's Middle School. Just if you walk towards Main Street, it's right there.
I think so. I think there's a couple of new houses right there. Is that near Scotia then? That's near Scotia.
No, it's closer to Main Street. Yeah, and there's not new houses there, they're just newer.
This house in particular is just a house or so off Scotia.
Yeah, there's just two.
If you look on the map, on the information
Do you
the
have a
assessor
year
has
for that?
provided.
Yeah.
If you look on the map, it'll show you where it is.
It says Perth was sold in August 2017.
Does it say when it was built?
I don't-
2011.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go, because it wasn't familiar to my mind. Now, got it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, if you leave this with us, you will hear from the secretary of the board, written decision within a couple of weeks.
Okay, and we can still appeal this further when we get the decision?
When you get the decision, it will explain how to appeal it to the municipal board. There's a time frame that you will have, but it'll be on there.
Okay.
The letter will be sent to you by registered mail. Probably in about a week.
Okay, does that go to our mailbox or right to our door?
To your door, I think. You need a sign for it.
Oh, right, okay. We'll be there.
Okay, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, we will move on to 817 Jefferson Avenue.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to get a better sense of timing for, if you might be able to give us your agenda in terms of how you're hearing applicants, because I have paid for parking until 10:30, and I'm wondering if it'll be, something I need to extend.
What is your address?
787 Manhattan.
That's the.
I don't know that.
So you'll be the next one after.
Hi there, will you swear on the Bible or follow
After
that?
this.
Thank you. Please state your name. Sorry about that. And do you swear the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Do you have anything to distribute to the panel today?
No, I did, matter of fact, I was looking for some picture that we had taken. I couldn't find, so I
That's
was
okay.
getting
You
it.
can do a verbal presentation.
Very good,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Okay, Ms. Evans?
Okay, so this is for 817 Jefferson Avenue. The property is located in the Garden City neighborhood. It's a one-story, single-family dwelling built in 1959. It's 1,273 square feet with a finished basement. It has 2 bathrooms, air conditioning, and a detached garage. The lot size is 6,378 square feet, and there is a bus and traffic influence. The comparable properties are 78 Arrowwood Drive South, 33 Buttercup Avenue, 632 Hartford Avenue, and 845 Arrowby Street. They're all located in the same neighborhood as the subject property. They're all one-story, single-family dwellings built between 1958 and 1963, and the square footages range from 1,148 to 1,227 square feet. They all have finished basements with the exception of 23 Buttercup Avenue, which does not. They all have 2 bathrooms and air conditioning. 845 Airleys has a fireplace. They all have detached garages, except for 23 Buttercup has an attached garage. And the lot sizes range from 6,046 square feet to 6,594 square feet. There is a bus corner and traffic influence for 845 Airlie Street. The comparables I used are all dated and have had no major upgrades. The time adjusted price per square foot of the comparables is $232.02 to $248.52, and the subject property is at $235.66. Based on these comparables, I believe the value should be maintained.
Thank you. Do you have any questions of the assessor on the information that she has presented?
Sir, I have quite a few things to say about that place. And
You will have your time to tell us about your property. Right now, we're going to have questions about the information that the assessor has presented. If you have questions, if you don't, the panel may have questions, and then you will get a chance to tell us about your property. Okay?
Like the rate has not assessed like about that, if I have any questions.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The rate has been assessed, if I have any questions about it, that thing.
Okay, go ahead, ask her, yes.
Yes, ma'am. I wonder, like, the rate has been assessed at $300,000. I will be happy if we get the price for that house, the buying price that we paid. A reason for that is, like, first of all, number one, that place is on very busy street. When the street is that busy, it's a low in demand. Other than that, that garage, its name is garage, but that garage is not being used. Its windows are broken.
I think you're giving us your information. We're gonna have questions first, and then you can tell us all about your property.
I see.
Okay, 1 minute. Lori, do you have any questions of you?
I have no questions at this time, thank you.
Okay, Gisela?
No, I have no questions, thank you.
Okay, so the subject property backs on to Jefferson. Is that correct? So they don't have a back lane, that's a busy street back there?
Yeah, the subject property is on Jefferson.
Is it,
And yeah, there is no back lane.
oh, I see, yes, okay, I'm getting mixed up. So subject property is facing onto Jefferson. And you've taken that into account in the value?
Yes.
Sale on the subject property of $260,000, $250,000?
And 213?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all my questions. Would you like to tell us about your property now?
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
Okay, first of all, that place is on very busy street.
Okay.
It's not in demand, like its name is like a Garden City. But just being in Garden City, imagine like if a house is in the right location where it's not that, where it's quiet, not that busy and stuff, that's different. And next to that is condition of that garage is so bad, that's not being used, driveway is cracked, and garage needs a roof, and windows are broken, and it's really like a shack up there. And basement, which is called finished basement, and it was flooded 2.5 years before, and because of that, it's all gutted and all that. We had to remove carpet and everything from there. Drywall was bad, water had gone up, and then it has got a kind of funny kind of smell or something like that, and we had to remove almost everything from there in the basement. And then other than that, those windows, like it's being on a busy street or something, windows like kids and all that, there. One time somebody had a pellet gun fired or something, when those glasses are broken. And then other than that, the doors, the windows and everything is really old. I think ever since that house was built or something, that needs to be replaced, or it needs lots of renovations before we can say that this house is at higher value. I think when city determines the value, they do not go like in each house. It just gets from other houses the way that other houses are valued. But each house in which condition it is, that's different. And other than that, lately, we got checked, like its wiring is really old, it's kind of brittle, because its house is old, it was built, I think, in 1958, 59. And other than that, it needs a roof, and it needs lots of work. Like, I can't imagine, like, the house has been priced at that value. We will be lucky if we can get value that we put into that house. The worst thing is because the house is on busy street, nobody wants it. We have tried to sell it quite a few times.
Okay. Thank you. We'll see if the assessor has any questions.
Okay, you said the basement was flooded?
Yes.
When was that, what year?
2.5 years before.
2.5 years ago?
Yes, and those drainage pipes or something or other, they got blocked. And in the morning when we woke up and it was all smelly, when went over there, all the carpet was dirty, smelling and stuff like that. Then we had to remove it ourselves to do all this work and all that, because we couldn't afford the value that it was going to add more and more.
Okay,
So basement is not
you
finished.
removed everything from the basement,
Yes,
flooring,
yes,
and
yes.
so, and nothing has been done
Right, yeah,
since?
yes,
Okay.
it can be checked if wished.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So
And you
then-
don't have any plans to finish it at this point?
No.
At this
We,
point, you're just leaving
we, we would like to sell it, like if we can, because area is so busy and all, that's not quite, and other than city, name is good, that's Garden City, but I don't think that Jefferson Street should be called part of Garden City.
And is there a bathroom in the basement, or the bathrooms are both on the main floor?
Main floor,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Thank you. Gisela, questions for the?
Yes, I wanted to make sure that I understood you correctly. Did you say the windows in the basement were broken?
No, windows like front windows on the main floor, like with pallet gun and stuff like that. Somebody had used pallet gun, other times somebody threw stone, there was a big crack and all that.
So you have a big crack in the window now?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any kind of an estimate as to how much it may cost to replace that window?
We are going to check all that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When is the last time you tried to sell your home?
We put at least 3 times for 6 months regularly, like
Right.
sign over there. One person came to see and he started laughing, he says, in the house needs minimum $30,000-$40,000. If we reduce the price, we will buy at that price. And I said, we will be $40,000 at loss. He was offering $220,000.
And what were you asking?
We were asking $270,000.
$270,000.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
Lori?
Just a follow-up. So when did you put it on the market last? Like it was advertised on the market, and you said you were asking $270,000. What year was that?
Yeah, it was 2017.
2017?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have no more questions, thanks.
Thank you.
If we add that money on that, like spending money on that house like that, after doing everything over there, if house sells for $300,000, which is not going to sell, for sure, the way that street is busy, and after investing that kind of money, that money is not going to come back.
Okay, I have no questions either. So thank you. Leave this with us. You will hear, we will make a decision and you'll hear from the secretary within a couple of weeks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And then we will now move on to 787 Manhattan Avenue.
Good morning, will you swear on the Bible or affirm with that? Okay, please state your name.
Sonia Jablonski Crosby.
Do you swear the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I hope I do.
Thank you. Do you have anything to distribute to the panel this morning?
I have only one thing, but I'm gonna leave it with the panel after, if I can. It's just, again, sales data for the area that
So you're just gonna speak from that, you don't have anything to distribute?
not at the moment,
Okay,
no.
that's okay.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Okay, when you're ready.
Okay, so this is for 787 Manhattan Avenue. It's located in the East Elmwood neighborhood. It's a one-story single-family dwelling built in 1956. It's 728 square feet with a finished basement. We have it in poor condition with basement finish. It has one bath and air conditioning, and the lot size is 4,131 square feet. The comparable properties are 810 McCalman Avenue, 1056 Talbot Avenue, 1126 McCalman Avenue, and 956 Herbert Avenue. They're all located in the same neighborhood. They're all one-story single-family dwellings built between 1955 and 1956. And the square footages range from 768 to 914 square feet. The comparables have finished basements and one bathrooms as well. 1056 Talbot and 958 or 959 Herbert have air conditioning, and the other two do not have air conditioning. They all have detached garages, and the lot sizes range from 3,294 to 4,779 square feet. All the comparables are dated and in below average condition. That's why I chose them. I made a recommendation to lower the value to 174, which is lower than the range of just the regular sale price, not even time adjusted, which ranges from 193 to 210. And I believe that the 174 recommendation should be maintained.
Thank you. I will ask if the assessor's offering to reduce it to 174. Is that satisfactory with you?
No.
Okay. Okay, do you have any questions of the assessor on the information that she's presented?
The only information that I'd like to challenge that she's presented is that I am here as a power of attorney for my mother Alexandra, who is 90. And I have tried to come before this board previously, unsuccessfully, because I filed, I think last time, and I'm sorry, that's going before that. The only thing I'm gonna say is that my mother's basement is truly not finished. There is one room which has a door. Her floor is absolutely concrete. There's nothing that is finished about that. The fact of the matter is, the other space, half of the basement is well, 3/4 of the basement is, more than that, is concrete. And only that one space, small space, is a room that has a door. The rest of that other space on one half is, it does have plywood up on the wall, but it is not finished in terms of the flooring at all. Okay, so nothing is finished, and the other half of the basement.
But this is question time now.
Okay, so but that's not a question, it's only to the issue of the basement is finished, and it says, yes, my mother's basement is not finished.
We'll ask the assessor if it has been taken into account in the recommendation, maybe, that the basement is unfinished.
Yes, well, it has been taken into consideration. We did do an inspection back in 2015, so we haven't done anything recent, but we have taken that in. It's only 40% of the area that we have as being finished and in poor condition, that it's not.
It's not 40% though, that's what I'm saying, I'm challenging that.
So you're, okay.
Yes, I am
So,
challenging that.
and so at that state, before I lowered it to 174, it was at 199. So yes, that poor basement finish is being considered.
You would say that's taken into account
definitely, yes.
in the reducing the value.
Yes.
Okay, so the assessor's saying she has taken
But she
the
hasn't.
basement into account.
If in fact then,
It was
40%, you said, and I'm
That's
saying
what it
it's
was.
less than 25%
Yeah,
finished,
okay.
so that's what I'm challenging. It's
So
not
what
40%, and that
so
is a big difference.
What happened, so you did originally go to RAP, or like the residential program, and then it was lower, it was at 199, and that was what they lowered it to. So since then, I've re-looked into it, and I've reconsidered that the basement is in poor condition, and
We
that's
have
why I
pictures.
brought, sorry?
And there were
And you know what,
pictures.
and we could possibly do another inspection definitely the value is 174 is considering that that it's in poor
There's not much
condition.
value added
Yes.
to the basement
That-
finish.
Yeah, that
Okay.
there's no,
I'm sorry, that was the only question. Oh, and I recognize there was one other component of my mother's assessment that I think there's probably didn't come forward from yours. But I do note that my mother lives next door to a rail line, so that the space between her home and the railroad, and it's not ever been on her assessments, it's really bothersome to me. And so I have to say that I would like to add that to the consideration, as well as she's one of the three, in all of the Elmwood, East Elmwood, St. Boniface area, there are 3 railroad tracks that that take the north or west side over to the east side, and or from the south side. Doesn't really matter which way you're going. It's the Nairn is the overpass. There's Talbot Avenue. There is Manhattan, which should be
I think
registered.
we're having questions now though,
That's
so
all right.
let's ask the assessor if she's taken into account that
Okay.
there's rail lines there.
All right,
no,
that,
unless the property actually backs onto it, we don't.
well, that's not true, because the property assessments for the other houses next to her have that on their assessments.
Yeah, if it actually, the lot backs onto it, but
No, it
I can
doesn't.
see
Their,
that.
their lots do not back onto it. They're the same as my mom's.
Mhm.
And so, again, I have to ask the question of what has been considered, and I appreciate your assessment in lowering the value, but I think we have several things that we need to address yet.
Okay,
Those are
thank
the
you.
questions. Oh, and the traffic is another one. So rail line and traffic are 2 considerations I would like you to also address.
Okay, we'll see if the panel, Gisela, do you have questions of the assessor?
I have no questions at this time.
Lori?
I have no questions either, thank you.
May I ask
Uh,
another question?
A question, yes, you can ask a question.
As far as assessments go, and in terms of value, and this is because I don't understand the process here, where if I was saying like the 2 years ago and 2 years before that, and I asked for this individual to come back to my mother's house and assess it, and she had assessed it, but the value of the house was never, like from the tax bill, she still received the same tax bill, nothing ever changed. So I'm here today saying like, you know, this has been going on for, you know, at least 6 to 10 years that I have been power of attorney for her, and recognizing that she has been overpaying taxes for that period of time.
So what is the question?
The question is, can you go back?
No.
Not just this
We
assessment?
can't go back, we were just looking at the year that's under appeal
All
now.
right. Well, and then next year, should it need to happen, I have to come back and do the
They
same thing all over again?
reassess every 2 years. They reassess
Exactly.
every 2 years by law, so, but we will see if the panel has any, it was my turn to ask questions
All right,
now,
thank
so
you. I'm sorry.
you will get a chance to tell us about your property and stuff in a
Right.
minute. I have no questions. If you would like to tell us about your
Well,
property now and your information.
Thank you. I have the market value from that last assessment, and I think 2016, for houses that are on the street as identical to my mother's. Their sales years, however, were 2014. So one house, and the reason that I stuck very closely, Amanda has been wonderful in terms of correspondence and trying to help this come down. But 677 Manhattan Avenue, 1 story, as my mother's, sold in the March of that year. The sale price was $136, and the adjusted sale price was $140. Now, having said that, I can go back to another home, 712 Manhattan Avenue. This is 1 3/4 story home, and again, the sale year for that, this was from the 2016 market sales, was $99,000, and the time adjusted price, $100,000. I have difficulty with saying that my mother's home, as I've noted to you at this point, does not have a finished basement, has not had any improvements made to it since 1956 or whatever year it was built. She does not have a driveway. She does not have any gravel for a driveway. She has absolutely, the issue of medium traffic is what I was trying to bring forward. Talbot has a railroad crossing, and that's noted. Manhattan has a railroad crossing, and that is not noted. We have medium to quite a bit of traffic down the street because those people coming, anyone coming from one area to the other city trying to cross over to the east has to either use Narren, Talbot, Manhattan, or Monroe. That's the next closest crossover. You cannot make it over the tracks that run behind my mother's house because of that reason. So the railroad, I do know, because I've looked at other property assessments next to my mother, and I might just add that although the new information posted online suggests that the property next to my mother's has been assessed lower than my mother's, they're noted to have the rail. The property at the end of the street, which is 3 houses down, is a story and a half, has a garage, has had every improvement made, also noted that there's a railroad track. They were valued at $20,000, more than $20,000 less than my mother's. So we have a problem in terms of assessment. Maybe the other houses have been lower assessed, and maybe they needed to be brought back up to market value, but something's really wrong. I did speak with Amanda that the house next door to my mother's was all gutted on either side, identical houses built the same year, full basements, garages installed, and my mother's house was the highest taxed house in the 7 houses in that row. Now, I don't know why. Was it because I feel like the gentleman earlier who said, is the city trying to bully you? Well, in my mother's case, I'm wondering, I don't understand how this could possibly be when all these renovations have been made to these houses, and my mother's is outstanding with no renovations made, no garage, none of that, except for an air conditioning, and still higher than all of those homes. Now, I think this year's assessment, I looked at it this morning before I came. I do note that it's changed since she received her tax bill, but I am still noting that those properties are valued less than my mother's. I just don't understand it. So please, if you would be so kind as to relook at these sale values that I'm speaking about, and also to the fact, the houses that, the pictures of my mother's home, in terms of its interior condition, and it's, again, everything is there. She needs to have her flooring replaced. She would never be able to place that house on the market and receive anything near the value that we're talking now. Even at $174,000, it would not happen. The flooring everywhere needs to be replaced, the cupboards in the kitchen. I'm not saying the walls, there are cracks from the shakes from the rail line, from the foundation, and that has to be replaced. So I do recognize that, thank you for listening to my concern. This has been, like I said, a long time in coming for me to come to the board. Last year, they refused my assessment, whenever it was the last time, they refused my, because I think I placed it in the mailbox, and at 4:30, they said that was it. They, you know, it was too late to have received. So yes, I have been trying to meet with adjusters over the years, and even after having met with them and having had a promise similar to the one we heard this morning, the very first person, nothing was done. And I'm here to ask you to please reconsider the value of this property. 174 is simply above what I believe she could sell that home for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see if there's any questions. Assessor, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Lori?
What do you think the value of your mother's home should be?
I said to Amanda online, I think about 160.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gisela?
Yes, I wonder, there is a map attached.
Yes.
I think you have the map attached that shows where your mother's home is. And can you tell me, you said there are 2 rail lines?
The rail lines are.
So
yes.
this is one here, I'm assuming?
No, it's not, it's like one rail line. I was suggesting that the railroad crossings for the, any part of Winnipeg, one would be at Talbot Avenue, one, and you don't see Talbot on, I don't, oh.
Here's Talbot.
Okay. So see where Talbot is, where the map is ending?
Yes.
That's where the rail crossing is. Now, if you went over 2 streets, you would see, so Talbot is one rail crossing.
Mhm.
Manhattan is the next, and then from there, you don't see Monroe. But if we had a larger city map, you would see Monroe, and you might recognize that all of those are fairly busy. The difference between Talbot and Manhattan is we do not have a bus going down the street.
So the railway crossing
Is
is
that-
here on Manhattan.
It's at Manhattan, well, I don't know how
Yes.
to explain it, I just put a little X here.
Yes, Manhattan goes across the tracks is what
Yeah,
she's
and my
asking,
mom,
yes.
yeah, and my mom's home, as you can see that crossing coming behind, and the yellow property shows that there is these do not back onto any of the houses. My mother is the 4th house in, as you can see. Yes, none of them back onto the railroad tracks. There is a lane there, and there are definitely space between all of the houses on that railroad line.
Thank you. That's all my questions, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the time of the board, and I appreciate, Mr. Chairman, you keeping me in line.
Thank you for coming,
Thank you.
and you will hear from the secretary shortly.
And I appreciate Amanda's work on this.
Very good.
Thank you.
We will move to 3125 Assiniboine Avenue.
I may be excused?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning, will you swear in on the Bible or affirm without?
Doesn't matter.
Please state your name.
Constantine George.
Do you swear the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Yes, you do. Do you have anything to switch to the panel this morning? Is that 5 sets or that's
No,
1
it's
set?
only 1 set.
Okay, how would you like to do that, Mr. Chairman?
We'll just pass them amongst ourselves, but we're going to take a 5-minute break.
Oh, okay.
How is that? Before we get started, we'll take a short
Yes.
break.
Yes.
Okay, I call the meeting back to order, and we will begin with 3125 Assiniboine Avenue.
3125 Assiniboine Avenue. So the property is located in the Westwood neighborhood. It's a 1-story single-family dwelling built in 1957. It's 1,031 square feet with an unfinished basement. It has 2 bathrooms and a detached garage. The lot size is 7,830 square feet, and there is a bus and traffic influence. The comparable properties are 230 Sansom Avenue, 82 Sansom Avenue, 15 Belcourt Bay, and 520 Rouge Road. They're all located in the same neighborhood. They're all 1-story single-family dwellings built between 1963 and 1965. The square footages range from 1,100 square feet to 1,261 square feet. The comparables do have finished basements. 82 Sansom does not have air conditioning and the rest do. 230 Sansom and 15 Belcourt have 2 bathrooms, and 82 Sansom and 520 Rouge Road have 1. There's a fireplace at 8, oops, no, there's not, okay, sorry. They all have detached garages except for 520 Rouge does not have a garage. And the lot sizes range from 4,998 square feet to 5,981 square feet. There's a traffic, bus and corner influence for 230 Sansom. And there's a traffic and school influence for 82 Sansom Avenue. And 520 Rouge has a bus, traffic, and commercial influence. The comparables are all very dated and they need work. That's why I picked these comparables, and the time adjusted price per square foot is, ranges from $199.44 to $218.93. The subject property is at $175. The price per square foot is $169.74, which is quite a bit lower, and I believe that this value should be maintained.
Thank you. Mr. George, do you have any questions of the assessor on the information?
I want to ask you how many bedrooms they have the comparable, because my house it has only 2 bedrooms, so it's important how many bedrooms
I don't
for the
have
market
that.
value.
I don't have that information. I don't know how many bedrooms at this point.
Because my house is only 2 bedrooms, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
If in your file regarding the property, do you have some technical condition mentioned, notes about
Yes, you were at, yes, I do have that. You already had spoken to someone at RAP, based on the condition of the home, that you're saying it's in poor condition, and we lowered it to 175 for that reason.
But was in an inspection, I think?
No,
to-
there wasn't
no,
an
for the
inspection.
inspection.
No.
You don't have that mentioned?
No, we don't have, that we did an inspection.
Okay,
No, only this I might.
thank you. Lori, any questions?
What was it lowered, it was lowered to 175 for the 2020 roll, what was it lowered from?
It was 196.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Gisela?
I have no questions at this time, thank you.
Okay, I have a question. It says it's on a bus route. Is that like a big regular bus route going down the Cinnabon, or is that?
It's every day, number 82.
So how often does it come?
Every one, depends on the travel. In the morning, it's often, but in afternoon, it's slow. It's based on to
The rush hours.
support the community to go to the in the Portage Avenue.
Okay,
So it's from the Grace Hospital to the Unicity Mall. So he turn around sometimes, but in the morning and after 3 o'clock, sometimes it's maybe every half hour, sometimes.
okay. So would there be a reduction in value based
Well,
on
we
the
do
bus
have a
route like
traffic
that?
and bus route influence,
So
so
they
we
would
have
affect-
taken that into consideration, yes.
Okay. And if dwelling is in less than average condition, would
Yes.
that be taken into account with the
Yes.
lowering to 175?
Yes, definitely. And all the comparables are very dated. Actually, 230 Sansom would be our best. It was like a handyman special, sold as is type sale. And it's still sold for, well, it's at 199.44 a square foot, sold for 250, so it's significantly higher than what we would have. So we have definitely taken the condition of the home into consideration.
So you're going by MLS readings or something
That was,
for that?
yes, that was, yeah, these are sales that we can see on MLS, and we've lowered him quite a bit lower than what these dated homes have sold for.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. George, if you would like to tell us about your house and present your information.
First of all, I want to thank you very much for having me here in my place. Secondly, I want to apologize for my English. It's not my first
Oh, you're
language,
doing well.
so please ask me if you don't understand something which or you have some points. Please ask me to try to be more.
Okay, so far so good.
Thank you very much. First of all, the house was built in 1957 and doesn't have any improvement. Original windows, original painting, like was a tape wallpaper, original carpets, everything is original. No air conditioning, and was a garage built in 63 something, after 6 years something like this. And I make a search from the market book region number 5, which is the property situated. So I figure out the value of the house as per book. It's around an average dollar per square feet is around 190. Adjusted it's 193. So the value of the house could be between 195 and 198 if the house was in good condition. Unfortunately, the reality is the house is sinking, so the foundation they have cracks. The floor is cracked and it's moved each side 3 inches difference between the level of the
Are you
crack.
talking about the basement floor?
Floor, yes. The house is moved in the front, and I bring an Avalon company 3 years ago, and he mentioned he can do the level to to straighten the level of the main floor, because the foundation, they have cracks, and if they leave the house, the foundation could be collapsed. So they don't recommend until I finish the foundation. The problem is, in this area, it's every year worse because the house doesn't have the piles to build. It's on the still 1957 model, where at this time they don't build on pilots the houses. So the garage is moving in the fall, in the sink, or is maybe too. I can't actually open the door in the winter because it's moving spare left. In the spring, it's coming in the right. So to fix the car, it's not an option. The only option for this house is to put down and rebuild another, because to redo the foundation, to redo the floor of the basement, to reduce the wall, redo the roof structure, because it's sinking the roof. It's a picture there. Maybe it's not so clear, but it's a sinking part of the north of the house. So in my previous appeal about the house, we found the same impression about the house. The property is value in the lot, not in the building, because building must be put down and rebuilt. Why I didn't do this? Because my mother-in-law, which is 89 old, has Alzheimer, so is only this house it's good for her to survive, because she knows everything in the house. So it's familiar with this, so we keep her present in today's staying in same condition which she recognized and she feel comfortable. We tried years ago another place, so you lost her. She go outside at this time. Right now she can't go anymore outside. It's a home care which come daily. When we go to work, come daily to supervise her. But this is the reason why I didn't put the house down, because it's not worth it to invest any dollars in this type of house. We do the maintenance which we can, like a painting, but every 2 years we have to repaint because the house is moving. So I think based on the conclusion, the property value of the property is only on the lot. I checked 2 properties which are vacant on the street, same street, but they are influenced by the Assiniboine River, which is a quite high class lot, and the city assesses them around $21 per square foot. So based on this dollar per square foot, the value of it could be around 165. So I'm asking to take in consideration, if you can, to reduce the value at 165.
Okay.
Because I mentioned to you, the house it's in poor condition, not average, something like this, because even if I fix something, it's moving, cracking, everything. It's the
Okay.
picture it's
Okay, we'll see if there's any questions, if the assessor have questions to start with.
Okay, so you don't live in the house, your mother lives in the house?
my mother-in-law and my daughter.
And live in that house?
Yeah, because after 4:30 the home care go, and my daughter will take, because she comes from university, and take care about my mother-in-law.
And you say the house is a tear down?
Sorry?
You say the house is a tear down, but yet your mother and your
Yeah,
father
but
live in
only
the
for
house.
this reason we don't put down to rebuild, because it's not it's not financial support to invest in a house which.
Okay, I don't have any questions for the
Okay.
mayor.
Thank you. Gisela, any questions?
Yes, I'm wondering, you said you cannot open the garage door?
In the winter, yes, it's moving some like this, because the garage door is on the
Slab?
slab, and is moving like this, left and right, always in the spring, in the fall. This time it's moving. It goes slowly, so in the maybe May, June, easy to open the door. Otherwise, it's you can close. If you open one time, after this, you can, because it's shifting like this.
Okay, that's the garage door or the man door to the garage?
The main door, garage, and the door, because
Okay.
they have a door for access for person access. And same, because I have the latch with the system to lock the door, so you can't do anymore to put the latch, because it was moved, so it's shifting.
Okay. And I guess somebody needs to use the garage, your daughter needs to use the garage?
No, but I use myself sometimes.
Oh,
I use myself.
but you don't live at this?
No, I put
address?
my car, I have a convertible and keep there. So,
Okay.
yeah, for the winter to see that.
You don't need to drive that in the winter anyway, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Um,
But I told you, if I know I didn't put there, so if I put, I can open the door. I
Right.
can- because
Is there any rent charged at all?
Rent?
Rent, do you
No,
charge
no,
rent?
No.
And you say that this is a tear down. You said that you had some estimates from a company to take a look at the foundation of the home?
No, for the leveling of the house, because
the
the
leveling.
house is moving, the front is sinking. So inside it's a picture there with the floor in the kitchen.
Right.
You see the vinyl start to crack because it's moving and make a vault like this. So I was thinking, okay, because even in the main floor there are, you can see the door hub. The frame is not anymore square, it's angle, something like this. So I was thinking, okay, to pay the 8,000, 10,000, but to bring the main floor, and they come, Abaddon come, and they say no, they can't do this because the foundation, they have cracks, and first I have to take care for the foundation, and after this I put this, it's, they can do this, otherwise they don't start, because it's very difficult to collapse if they lift, they
Right.
usually lift the whole house to collapse the foundation.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all my
Thank you.
questions.
Lori?
I have no questions,
questions?
thank you.
Donald? Well, I was gonna ask about estimates to repair. I'd like to ask the assessor if there's been any inspections of the property.
There was no
recent-
inspection of the
Was
property.
I think 3 or 4 years ago, and they said the cracks, and they say yeah, because was increase the value, and after this they decrease the value based on the inspection. Was an inspector, they inspect.
Possibly back in 2010, there was an appeal. It doesn't say there was an inspection then. So possibly back in 2010.
Okay.
Can I make one more comment about one of my comparables just regarding tear downs?
Yes.
15 Belcourt Bay was purchased and was purchased for $230 and was torn down right after and built a new one. So there's one that was torn down, the house was bought, the property was bought for $230.
They paid $230
And then they tore it down and rebuilt it right up, rebuilt a brand new house.
and that's comparable number.
That's number 3.
How would that fare in terms of location with the subject property?
In location, it's in the same neighborhood. It's not on as busy of a street. Smaller lot than the subject property, so it's a smaller by a couple thousand. So it's comparable, I would say.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's all my questions. Leave it with us, and you'll be hearing from the board, the secretary, within a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate giving us good information.
Have a nice evening.
You too.
swear or otherwise? Please state your name.
Justin Johnson.
Do you swear the evidence you present today is the truth and the truth and nothing but the truth so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Do you swear?
Yes.
Please state your name.
Ralph Johnson.
Do you swear the evidence you'll present today is the truth and the truth and nothing but the truth so help you God?
I do.
Something to distribute this
I
morning?
do. How many do you want?
I'd like 5 copies, please.
There you go.
Great. Thank
I
you.
think that's fine, maybe 6.
I'll come back if it's not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 47 Mossy Oaks Cove. Are we ready?
So for 47 Mossy Oaks Cove, the property is located in the Assiniboine Downs neighborhood. It is a one-story single-family dwelling built in 2008. It's 2,007 square feet with a finished basement. It has 4 bathrooms, air conditioning, a fireplace, and an attached garage. The lot size is 11,445 square feet. The comparables are 38 Burr Oaks Cove, 59 Four Oaks Cove, 27 Four Oaks Cove, and 39 Mossy Oaks Cove. Excuse me. They're all located in the same neighborhood as the subject, and they are all one-story single-family dwellings built between 2008 and 2010. The square footages range from 1,922 to 2,202 square feet. The comparables all have finished basements. They all have 3 bathrooms, with the exception of 27 Four Oaks, which has 4 bathrooms. They all have air conditioning and fireplace. 27 Four Oaks actually has 2 fireplaces, and they all have attached garages. The lot sizes range from 12,296 square feet to 17,265 square feet, sorry. There's a cemetery influence for 39 Mossy Oaks. And the time adjusted price per square foot of the comps is $392.86 to $409.49, and the subject property is at $390.13. Based on these comparables, I believe the value should be maintained.
Okay, thank you very much for the information. Do you have any questions of the assessor on the information that she has presented?
I suppose I have one question. When we bought the house, it was, I think it was 1992, 94 square feet. Our assessment was 1997 square feet, and now suddenly it's grown to 2,007 square feet. And I know that's not a lot, but it is over the 2,000 mark, and we haven't done anything to it. So that's my question.
And that's a good question. I honestly don't know. Let me just see if I have any notes on that.
And you know,
I see that it says 1997 on this, and you just printed this off?
Yes, but we did this back who knows when, and we don't have anything since then. We don't know when this was done, but yeah, we've had this for a while.
I could just see, I mean, yeah, 10 square feet, it wouldn't make a difference, but I guess, yeah, to value, but I do understand why you're wondering why it's changed. I don't know. I'd have to look into that when I went back to the office, because I don't have any information as to why it would have gone up 10 square feet.
Okay,
Sorry, no, I don't know. I will look into that when I go back and see why. I know it's a small amount, but I don't have an answer for you right now.
any other questions? No questions?
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see.
Other questions go the other way, maybe I'm not quite sure, who do we ask what questions to, sorry.
You ask your questions of the assessor on the information that she has presented, and you will get a chance to give us your information.
I don't have any questions.
On the assessed living area that when it was very first assessed in 2000 and early 2000, well, no, it was actually 2008, yeah, it was when we built it. And it was 1997. The person was out and did the inspection and did measurements or whatever and so on. And 1997 is what it was. How does it get changed over the years
That's what I'm saying, I would have to go back and look, I don't know, at this moment, I
Nobody's ever
couldn't
come
tell you.
by.
The assessor will look into it.
I can look into it, I mean, yeah, I
Get
will
back to
definitely
you.
look into it. It's a very small amount of change, so it wouldn't affect value, but I will definitely look in to see why it was changed, because I can't give you an answer right now. I don't know.
Okay. We'll see if the panel has any questions. Lori, any questions of the assessor?
Just a quick question. What is the condition of this and how is it rated?
The condition,
Interior
these
and
houses
exterior.
are in very good condition. It's a nice newer area. All of the homes are in good condition. They're higher end, it's a higher end neighborhood.
So they're deemed higher than average in terms of the way you record?
Well, like, they're all comparable to each other, so they're in average condition for that
Okay.
neighborhood.
I see.
Yes, so they're in average condition, but that neighborhood is higher end, and I wouldn't use another neighborhood, like, to compare these houses with, because they're in a higher end neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Then I have another question. Is there any?
One,
Oh, sorry.
we'll get,
Okay, okay.
just 1 second. Gisela?
Yes, I don't have a question, but I also wanted to note, if you're looking at this, the assessed area is different as well. The lot size, it's a small amount. It says it's 11,000.
Yeah, and you know what, a few years ago, the mappings was redone and things have changed slightly. Like, some are slightly larger, some are slightly smaller. It's just the way the mappings were redone. I would say that was a few years ago. So that is the reason for that one. I know that,
Okay,
the answer to that one.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, can you tell me where about this neighborhood is? Like,
It's
the map's kind of just a small area, and
Yeah, it's going out towards Headingley, it's past the perimeter.
Near the cemetery?
Yeah, right near the Anderson going down, it's like, is it on the other side of the street, then that Chapel Lawn
it's
section?
on the south side of the highway?
Yes.
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 The auto park is on the north side, and there's a Tim Hortons there.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it's
yeah, yeah.
across,
Okay, so it's outside the
so it's like
perimeter.
right outside the perimeter.
Okay. That's all my questions. You had another question you wanted to ask?
Yes. I've looked through different areas. Why is that area assessed so much higher than other areas? And I did not use them as comparables because I knew that wouldn't work. But I'm wondering why. Because I've looked at houses that are way bigger than ours, and the lot may be slightly smaller, but they're assessed at $200,000 difference.
You're talking about another neighborhood?
Yeah.
Because neighborhoods are, I mean, we're just looking at you're in a higher end neighborhood. So if you're trying to compare yourself to, say, a Westwood
Yeah, but
neighborhood, like, your neighborhood is higher end, it's all new
But does
houses,
it have
new
to be
development.
designated as a higher neighborhood when you do that?
Sorry,
Like, okay,
well, we're looking at, like, the way we come up with values is by looking at sales. So we're looking at sales of the houses that sold in your neighborhood, and they're all selling for very high values because the houses are newer, they're nice houses, they're in a newer development. So, like, we're not just coming up with a number, we're looking at sales that take place
Yeah.
in your neighborhood, and based on sales that have happened throughout the years, you can see that the values are selling, like, they're selling for in the high 700s, 800. I mean, there's a range, obviously, because there's different size houses and different types of houses, but we're looking at houses that are close to size of yours, similar age, selling for between $750 and $850, like, so that's how we come up with values, looking at similar homes in your neighborhood. We don't look at other neighborhoods when coming up with values for your house in your neighborhood. Other neighborhoods aren't taken into consideration. It's your neighborhood and houses that are similar to yours in your neighborhood.
yeah.
So all these
I
houses
understand.
are
Yeah,
close in age and.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm just
Mhm.
wondering, like, why is one area higher than the other one? Like, Tuxedo was always known as a high area,
And it still is.
and it still is, but it's lower than ours, like, if you compare it. But anyway, that's not,
Well, yeah, we can't
we're
really-
dealing with this, so
Mhm.
I'll just stick to this, but I'm still wondering.
Okay, we finished the questions, so you'd like to take us through your information?
Sure, okay. First of all, I hope what I say doesn't increase anybody else's taxes, because that's not what I'm here for.
That's not what we're here for either.
But, and I've got the map here, and I did two because I can't do one like you did. But if you take our house at 47 Mossy Oaks, you take the one behind us, which is Hidden Oaks, and if you go down here to Hidden Oaks and you go to number 15, like on this sheet of paper that I did, it's your third
Okay.
piece of paper there. You go to, first of all, I'll question the square footage, which is none of my business. I am definitely going to question the property size and a few other things that are in that property.
Which,
And it
your
is a-
property you're saying?
Well, 15 Hidden Oaks, directly behind us. On the map, you can see it, directly behind us.
15 Hidden Oaks, and what? Those are assessed values that are on there, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you know if there's a sale on 15 Hidden Oaks in the, recently?
Yes, there was, but I don't know what it was because we don't have access to that information. And then we have the smallest lot. Our property is the smallest of the ones. Well, I should just go back to this one here on Hidden Oaks. Go to number 35 Hidden Oaks if you go on the map.
35,
Like
okay.
Route 47, which is the highlighted one, and I spoke of 15, and I'll go to 35. 35 Hidden Oaks, that property is just slightly bigger than ours. The house is a little smaller than ours, but the assessment is hugely different. And honestly, I have never said anything because I know who lives there, and I'm afraid that their taxes will go up, and that's why I've been quiet.
I'm sorry, but no,
But I really feel that way. But I feel that this is really wrong. They have a pool, they have a huge backyard.
but we're not here to compare other assessments, we're here to find the fair market value for your property.
Well, I think because of not having, I mean, how do we get the sales?
MLS listings.
How do you get that?
I think
Go
the
online.
assessment department
You
put
can
some
go
sales on.
online to the winnipeg.ca website,
Yeah.
and there is, well, it's, you look under the assessment section and under sales books, and it shows sales for each reassessment period. And then it goes by neighborhood, so you can look in your neighborhood. And
Yeah.
it's online at the Winnipeg assessment website.
This one?
I don't know.
Yeah, because, and that has nothing on it, but, okay, like I can see you go by sales, but when these houses haven't sold, and this is what we've been assessed on all these years, like, is that right?
No, you're assessed on sales. That is what these comparables are that the assessor presented.
The assessment department uses sales to come up
Okay,
with the
yeah.
assessed
Well, then
value.
let's just go to property size. You know,
Well, let's go to 39. The assessor has a sale at 39 Mossy Oaks Cove.
Right.
So we know now that there's a sale, well, we know what it's
Okay,
assessed at, but there's a sale at that one. Let's take a look and we'll go on your theory here.
745,000.
Yep.
September 2016 is when it was sold.
And look at the difference in property size. See, when we bought the smallest lot because we wanted to keep our taxes down. And if we can't go on assessment, that's pretty difficult when there's very little sold.
Well, we could look at 59 Four Oaks Cove, which was sold in August 2016, slightly larger lot than yours, for $834,900. I mean, that's the purpose of these comparables, is to look at sales.
Do you take the interior of the properties into consideration as well? Like, okay, if somebody has a,
That's a question of the assessor.
If somebody has hardwood throughout.
Like higher end finishes.
Higher.
That is something that is taken into consideration.
And we did the lowest we could. We really kept it down. Our house looks very nice, and I think when an assessor comes, they are taken by that. But we have nothing. We don't have a jacuzzi tub, we don't have the big fancy bathrooms, we don't have granite countertops, we have a bit of hardwood in our dining room. That's it. So as I say, and we did that intentionally because we wanted to keep our taxes down. And again, you can go by assessment, but I'm sorry, but I just have to, I have to. from our street, of all the properties I've listed here, and that's quite a bit. Ours are the fourth smallest house, the smallest property, and the third highest assessment. And that's what we pay taxes on. And that's really painful. When we're retired, we moved into a bungalow so that, you know, we don't have to be looked after by anybody, hopefully, for a long time. And
Do you
we
have
just-
any sales listed on, this
No,
is,
because
this last page is all assessed values, I
Yeah,
assume.
that's right, and that's all I have, because, well, yeah, that one on, well, I did assess value, because that's what is easy for me to get from the computer.
Okay, well, we'll see if that, we'll see if there's any questions. Are you,
But I mean, like, this is a lot to go through, and when you see, I've marked where the fourth smallest house with the arrow, I've marked which ones are smaller. So, I mean, they may be, if they're assessed that much lower, would they sell that much higher? There's no way on God's green earth we're gonna get $783,000 for that house, no way. Even though it's in very good condition, but it's just not gonna happen unless maybe we have it on the market for a couple of years.
That's assuming the market would go up.
Yeah, and as I said, our lot is smaller. I mean, that's great, we want a small lot, that was our choice.
the assessor has presented 4 sales that all are in the same range or higher than yours. Yours is $390 a square foot, $392, $409. I mean, they're time adjusted, but that's the only fair way to do it. But they're all in your area or higher, and they're all in your close proximity. So I suggest maybe that's a place to start having a look to see if you feel like it's assessed fairly, but.
But then how about the square footage of the lot? Or how about all
Well,
of these
that-
other assessments? You know,
Well, I'm asking you, I'm suggesting that you look at the sales, because assessments are just, as I think I said earlier, you know, assessments don't prove anything, it just proves it's assessed the same as the other one. But if you came in here questioning your assessment and the assessor said that it's okay because it's assessed the same as the one down the street, that wouldn't be good enough. You would have to say, I want to know if this is fair market value. And that's what we're trying to find, is the fair market value. And the only way we can do it is to look at sales. If we just look at other assessments, it just proves that they're all assessed the same,
Okay,
but it doesn't prove they're right, it just proves they're assessed the same.
But, okay, I see what you're saying, but what are my taxes based on?
The market value, the assessed value of your property.
Okay, and that's what we're paying on. And why is our assessment so much higher than all the ones I have named here, except, as I said, ours is the third highest in all these properties that I have. Like, I really think that's a valid point. I think it's a very valid point. And I know some of these places have triple garages, we don't. And some of them that have sold. Now, you know, I'm not familiar with Burr Oaks, but I know 39 Mossy Oaks has a triple garage. And I know one of the 4 Oaks does, I don't know about the other one. And I'm not familiar with Burr Oaks, I don't know with that one at all.
Okay, I think we'll see if there's any questions of your information.
I
The
don't
assessor
have
has any questions? Lori, do you have any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Gisela?
I have no questions, thank you.
So then basically,
It's my turn to ask
your turn,
questions.
okay, you ask.
And then we'll give you a chance to summation. Summation. How big is the area that you're in? This map here is showing me
If you look
1,
at
2,
what,
3 bays, 4 bays. How many are in that area there?
well, right, 1, 2, 3, 3 right close to us. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 more.
4 or 5.
4 more, 5 more bays, and then the area that you drive in, and another street, like Prairie Oaks, Oak Forest Crescent, those are the streets, and then the other ones are off.
Okay. That's all my questions. If you would like a chance to, we'll give the assessor a chance to make a summation if she would like.
Basically just that, yeah, based on the sales of the houses that are close in size and age in her neighborhood, I feel that the value should be maintained.
Okay,
The
thank
value
you.
should be what?
Maintained. Right, the value that.
So the property size says nothing?
The sales are similar to size of your, like, I'm looking at the sales. I can't look at comparable assessments, so I'm just looking at the sales that I have presented. I can't speak on the comparable, or the assessments that you.
We've gone through the questions and we've gone through questions on her
Are you talking about the
information.
size between 10 square feet?
No,
Okay.
property size is what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
lot size.
Lot size.
Yeah.
Huge difference between 17,265.
I think we've been through the questions now. If you'd like to give us a summation of how your information and how you feel, go right ahead.
Well, that is part of it. Like the property size is huge, and what can we do about assessment? Like really, what can we do about assessment? Like if you really look
You
at
can come
this.
here and ask us to, ask the assessors, you can ask the assessor to prove the value. So they've given you some sales that they feel proves the value. You can go home and take a look at those 4 houses that she's given you and see if you think they're in the same category as yours. See if yours is fair based on, and when you get our decision, see if whatever the decision is, if you think that's fair. And if you think it's unfair, according to the sales you see and according to our decision, then you can go to the municipal board and ask them to have a look at it. That's the way the system is.
The assessed value of any property is what the municipal authority feels that property would likely be worth if it was to sell, am I correct?
On the open market,
Yeah,
yes.
on the open market.
Yes,
Okay.
market value.
Yeah, market value. Then, is there records to show that, in fact, these kind of assessments are close, or has there been occasions when they have been overvalued and people have sold less at less price? You know, I mean,
Well,
this is what we're facing, because, you know, we have been told that there is absolutely no way that if we were to put our house on the market listed at $783,000, that real estate agent said there would be no way that we could ever get anybody interested to look, because it's not worth that.
Do you have any evidence to indicate that?
No, we didn't. We just talked to them, you know, with the idea of where do we go, you know, if we decide that we want to put it up in the next few years, you see.
There are some people that do bring information forward, appraisals based upon the value as of April 1st, 2018, that's the period that we're considering as sales up to that time. So that's something else that, you know, you might want to consider further to what the chair has indicated.
Like getting an appraisal firm in to
yeah,
give us a written appraisal.
something like that,
Yeah.
yeah.
But if you don't look at assessments, you're not gonna look at appraisals, are you?
Yes.
Because appraisals will be based on sales
Evidence,
evidence,
sales.
sales evidence, because that's the only way to prove it is through sales.
But there's got to be a way. I would appreciate if you would just look at this one page that I have written and look at the assessment. I know you say sales, but these places haven't sold. These few have sold. But, okay, if the assessment, if we sell for $800,000, then put it up to $800,000. But if we sell for $650,000, I mean, you're never gonna come down. Like, it's just, like, we're dealing in fairness here. I mean, it is obvious that our property is the smallest, and we have one of the highest assessments. I mean, it is, like, I can't argue it. It's here, it's on black and white. And that is just not right.
Okay, leave it with us. You think you've explained your position well. We will have a look at it.
Well, you know what? I thank you.
Thank you for coming.
And if I look at that lady that is sight impaired, I have no problem.
but that doesn't change the fact that this isn't right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way,
Thanks
if
a
you
lot.
look at
Thank you
some
for
of those
coming.
sales that
Pardon me?
sold, if you looked at some of those sales, the highest ones were picked to use as selling for us.
Okay. 103 Lechner Drive. Could you read that into
Yes.
the roll and tell us
Sorry,
whether
I
you've
just-
had any contact or anything?
Sorry, I just have to all of them. All my stuff is. One of you, no, I did not contact the homeowner, I didn't speak to them. Do you want me to just read the?
Read the roll number into the
Sure.
roll and,
The roll number is 0500519300. And their 2020 assessment is 286,000, and I believe that value should be maintained.
thank you. And 19 Gardenia Bay.
And 19 Gardenia Bay, I did speak to the homeowner, and I did make a recommendation, which he did accept through email. I have a copy of that email if you want it. But I made a recommendation to reduce the value to 216, based on the inspection that I did of the property.
Perhaps you could give us a copy of that so we can,
Of the email?
the recommendation that you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Well, I think that
That's it.
completes it. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your job well done.